So when that life was cleared, I can clearly feel my body had this mental release. When that was cleared, my mental was released, for I felt lighter, and my emotion body has had this huge Hey guys, welcome back to SRT Pajama. This is Jaja. I am the SRT practitioner. First topic I want to talk about is pain and traumas in all layers. So, in my 4 years of self healing and discovering journey, I've encountered many times of trauma by you're like pursuing something. For example, me, a lot of time I want to pursue more motivation, more power, or more self discipline ability. Then I'll discover blocks, and then what is the blocking? A lot of time is some traumatic event in the past or some imprint program as a child from the society. So I encountered many times of trauma, and most of them showed up as pain in me. It could be spiritually, mentally, physically. I still remember the first time of the experience in this was in my teacher's class. It was an SRT class, and one past life of mine was reviewed in public by Spirit to show how to clear a life involved more than three figures. So that life involved me and two other soul cast, including somebody else in that life. But those people actually are my dad and my brother in this life. And then in this life, I have a very challenged relationship with my dad since born. And then we discovered in that life by SRT, a lot of details was discovered that I was harmed mentally, emotionally, physically by my dad in that life, and it caused me early death. And so it left a traumatic wound. It left that my soul was traumatized by that event. And thus, in this life, it caused extra difficulty for me to facing my dad. So when that life was cleared, I can clearly feel my body had this mental release. When that was cleared, my mental was released for a second, like I felt lighter, and my emotion body has had this huge release moment where I felt like I was almost like crying inside, like was like this, like that's the first time I felt the emotional pain that is inside of me from other life. And another example I want to talk about is during one of my life discover in the twin flame journey, because in the twin flame journey I discovered so much life of mine in the past and how it played a role in this life. And one time I was shocked by how much pain one life was stored. That time I was not intentionally doing the discovering like that. I was meditating, simply meditating. And then all of a sudden I felt this painful feeling inside of me. It was so painful. And I was like, I wanted to cry. It was so pain. I don't know how to deal with it. Then I start to meditate into theta healing, where my brain wave changed to a theta wave, where when you are in that wave, your subconscious is readable to your conscious mind. So your conscious mind has the ability to tap into your subconscious mind to read what's happening. And so in that time, I've discovered one past life of mine in this twin flame journey where I experienced separation and death at that time with my twin flame mate. And it manifested into this huge emotional pain in me. And then I kept crying. I couldn't stop. And I felt this heartbroken feeling. But it doesn't make sense to me at all in this life because nothing happens. I was just meditating. By experiencing that life, it also gave me this insight on how all the lives has restored emotional in our subconscious mind. We don't have an awareness of it. Our conscious mind most of the time is functioning at a survival mode, just like a basic mode. So we would not even have the ability to know that. but it does bury deep in us. And also it has an impact on us because even though our conscious mind doesn't know these, might or it might not, but our soul knows. So our soul will intentionally making choices that tends to run away from the pain, tends to run away from the traumatic event, run away from the people that gave us this trauma, or cause some resentment towards these people. Like, you have you ever met someone that you the first sight you don't like him, or someone the first sight you like him, or you have this feeling you don't know why? It's that your emotional body knows it. Your mental body also knows it. So SRT chart, you see on this chart, remember how we normally goes clearing, and on this chart 3, it has all these bodies, and on the body has conscious mind and subconscious mind. So our physical body is both conscious mind and subconscious mind. So our physical body knows also. So a lot of times your physical body will show out a symptom of burning or rashes or pain or headache sometimes when something happens, and the answer is not always Western medicine. Many of those experiences and then examples give me this firm idea that our pain and traumas are in many, many, many layers. Yes, there are many from the childhood, but there is quite amount from other lives, from our soul experiencing all these dimensions, all these alternative paths that we don't know necessarily. Our conscious mind might not know, but our subconscious mind and our soul knows it, and they restored in the body, in our mental, in our emotional, in our physical. And so every time we clear a program, we elevate it a little bit, and that brings about the transformative opportunity, which leads us to spiritual enlightenment. So that's the first topic, pain and trauma in many layers. That's my understanding for that. And then I want to talk about the second topic. In my experience, so there's trauma from this life, there's trauma from other lives, and also there is also societal trauma and generational trauma that comes within race, history level, the trauma. So, trauma is a wound, it's a psychic wound. And when triggered, we take actions and perceptions from the space of wounds and not from a state of awareness. For example, um, and then the reason for that is there is a pain and programs stored behind that wound, behind that trauma. And then when our conscious mind running on the level of survival mode, which most of us are, we tend to run away from the pain and run away from the wounds, and things are not related, but activates the dopamine systems that leads to addiction. And that's how addictions are manifested. So trauma is not what happened to us, it's how we perceive what happened to us, how we review and how we form a belief in what happened to us. If you look at the history of the saints, Jesus, Buddha, all these saints, one comment about them is no matter how many traumatic events they face, they always making aware decisions and actions and perceptions from God, from love, from spirit. They always have firm belief in connection with God, with spirit, with their true self. They don't run away because of traumatic events. But most of people would run away and choose to, including myself. I did a lot. I was anxious, avoidant in relationship, and I was addicted to all kinds of stuff, just like everybody else. But I'm not addicted to crazy drugs. But I'm not judging crazy drugs. I just didn't have the fate to try it. I don't know. And or my trauma was not that painful. My trauma was not that at that level to I needed heroin and all of that to heal, to feel the release. Because I believe that people that suffering from real drug issues, there might be something damaging or some really, really, really strong pain in them that they're avoiding, that they have to choose to use that strong of thing to feel the release. So in SRT, we know there's no separation from love, from God, from spirit. It's all an illusion, and when our action and perceptions are based on an illusionary point, but not from our truth, not from a natural state of flowing, not from a natural state of accepting, of love. And when we choose to take actions out of fear, out of running away from the trauma, that's how trauma manifests blocks. And in most cases, it will manifest into addiction behavior. So that's how trauma manifests the addiction. And the third topic. So a lot of modalities can heal traumas. But in I guess my major, if you can say that, like in this spiritual university, I took a lot of major. But my major right now is SRT Spiritual Response Therapy. So in SRT, there is programs often called energy programs, discarnates, and psychic wounds, soul scarring, and many other programs in this whole big SRT system of this whole 30 charts with all the healing modalities also. So in my experience, almost 90% of discarnates are attached to psychic wounds, and psychic wounds or trauma are all caused by programs. Let's go from the first line. 90% of discarnates attached to a psychic wounds, and psychic wounds and traumas are all caused by programs. We talked about how event brings a trauma, and trauma is a wound. Many of those programs are from other lives and from childhood and from our soul records. In the soul records, it shows out in that way. And when addiction programs shows up, always discarnates shows up. So what I found is that I think the discarnates are very likely attached actually on those wounds. So imagine your soul is like this perfect being, which it is, but because all the experience you had, it has all these marks. But if you don't grow awareness on these marks, you let these marks rule you, and you let these broken things, broken wheels, or these traumas, these wounds run over your conscious mind, run over your soul, it will attract discarnates, which is another word, dark souls, dark spirits, into these wounds, and they will attach on these wounds. And I would assume a lot of our addictive behavior and actions actually come from that. So, for example, if your addiction is alcohol, then most likely the discarnates that attached to these wounds have alcoholic energies, health abuse energies, and they live off that energy because they are that dark spirits. So they're attached to that wound, right? And they're being fed by that. Also, they will, if they're powerful enough, if they overall, if they you keep growing them, they will become very powerful, and then they will input, but not as powerful as love. The most powerful magic in the world is spirit and love. But they will be powerful to give you the imprint of ideas or insights or thoughts of running you, driving you to do those addictive behaviors or self-harming behaviors. So you're not making choice out of your own awareness and of your own truth and love. You are making choice by these discarnates driven or by these energy driven. Which energy, when it's strong enough, like these discordant energies on chart 6A, sometimes will clear like frustration, unhappiness. You'll see that chart. Say like doubt, doom, domineering, self-punishment, self-limitation. When they be very, very powerful, they will become a creative force, which means they have the conscious mind, and they to kind of consciously attack or give you a thought, sending you some energy, and then they reside within those wounds. Let's talk about how SRT clear them. So different SRT practitioners have different ways to clear them, but SRT is a system that is already set, a tool that is very profound. It's like different programmer have a different way to programming this. My ways to clear them is always when I found there's discarnates that is attached, I will always almost go to the programs lies behind them. And clearing the programs lies behind them, and I will clear the mental body and emotional body, release the energy that lies behind them. And I will also ask, is there a creative force behind them, those energies or not? And clear those creative force, clear the programs, clear the discarnates. And then after clear the discarnates, search the event that caused the program, and then clear the program. Then clear the psychic wounds, clear the scarring, which is the trauma, basically clearing that. Then apply healing from many modalities. There's a wonderful chart called Chart 7 on SRT, involves direct healing process and colors. It talks about how there's back flower remedy, Susan's tooth healing, flower essence and vibration healing, raise physical and oral vibration, how to know the minerals and rocks, gem elixirs, and vibrational healing. So apply healings, and many very important is to clear brain cell restructuring. And I personally would add a step in releasing a negative belief system by forming some release statement, which I found really important. And in the book of the founder of SRT talked a lot about it, so I do that a lot. And after all this is done, what is actually the most important part? I believe the most important part in all of this is for people to rebirth the conscious mind and habit with positive affirmations and reconnecting to your truth, your spirit, your soul, your inner light, and learn moving forward with inner power and wisdom to deliberately choosing life with clear awareness from your heart and love. So that's the most important part. After the clearing, it's the rebuilding. It's the connection with yourself. It's to release the emotion and understand and aware your emotional body. Making connection with your mental body, making connection with your spirit, making connection with all of you, your true self, and know your true wish for your life. I think almost no one wants themselves to be addicted. No one wants themselves to be living in darkness. We all want light. I believe in that. And now, last question. Yourself. It's always yourself who is healing yourself. You can ask for help, of course, from your higher self, from your spiritual committees, your spirit guides, your God, and most of important thing is your inner being that is healing you, the creator of all that is in you, that is creating and manifesting you, that is healing you, and you are that. You just need to reconnect and rebuild the connection of that and understand that. What is my role in this is I'm just a facilitator in this SRT, to do my best in SRT and serve that to you. But your life of this healing journey is all on your own. But you will meet a lot of people, a lot of souls that helping you clear. And in my limited English vocabulary, I expressed as much as I could about addiction and traumas. And the next video we're going to clear, which I'm going to do very shortly after this, is clearing on emotional pain. We're going to try to just release emotional pain, but it is a group session. So like I said, we cannot go to the root cause of it, of the trauma and what caused this pain. But I believe that it will release some emotional pain that on some degree because it is a group session. So thank you. Blessings. Bye bye.